Hi everybody, Geo here. Today we're going to do Chapter 5, For the Dark. January 22nd, 2462. Rias. My arms wouldn't move, neither would my legs. Something was on my mouth, something beeped to my left, trapped like my father in the cave-in. My heart raced. I pulled on my arms, pushed on my legs. Something was on my arm and legs and shoulders. Fight it. Free yourself. Twisting one way, then another. I could barely move. What had happened to my strength? I felt so weak. Easy there, an unfamiliar voice said. You're in medical. Doc, you'd better get in here. Rias is awake. Am I blind? Why is it so hard to see? Someone removed a washcloth from my forehead. A cat mewed by my left ear. Light flooded into my eyes. Too intense. I clenched my eyelids closed. I tried to block the light with my hands, but something bound my wrists to the bed. The washcloth was taken away, refreshed, and placed on my forehead. You've had me worried for 2 weeks, Doc said, and the lights dimmed. And it might be another 2 before I sleep again. And there was an odd tug at my mouth and chin. Then Doc pulled the ventilator away, carefully easing a tube from my throat. The first time you woke up, you tried to tear everything out. So I've kept you sedated and strapped down. Don't try to talk. Your throat needs to rehydrate. That's why it's so sore, Doc said. It was easier to open my eyes now, and I glanced at the cat purring in my left ear, and the stranger above me. Inocencio Alvarado, call me Ian, he said, adjusting the washcloth with his left hand. I'm one of the people you saved. When you're up, I'm buying you a drink. You and Ian have been roommates for the last couple of weeks, though he woke up long before you did, Doc said, and unfastened the wrist bindings. Your next question is probably, what happened? I nodded. The cat mewed in my ear. You came out to the Adi Shachar, found me, Guacamole, and Captain Rohan, and saved our lives, Ian said. In the process, Doc said, and pulled out his datapad and made some notes. You were exposed to a fatal radiation dose. You died twice, but we were able to revive you. Your bone marrow took the worst of it. I'll go into details about that later, but I had to send to Campbell Station for a more advanced treatment. It arrived yesterday, and that's why I'm letting you up today. I pointed at my throat. It was sore. Ian, get him some water. I took the liberty of calling Dalila. She's waiting outside with a few others who are worried about you, Doc said. Ian handed me a cup of water and a straw. You've got to love Nuestra. Gossip capital of the Bentley-Thwaite Arm. You tell one person and in 2 minutes the entire colony knows. Dalila, my sister, ran in. Only 8 and a whiz at math. She made me so proud. Tears falling, she somehow hugged me through the maze of sensors and tubes. I hugged her back with my left arm. My right arm was in the nanocuff. Some blue fluid oozed through the tubes and into me. Normal fluid is clear. This must be the something new. You look funny, bald, Dalila said. I touched my scalp. Nothing but stubble. I'm sorry about that, Doc said. Between the ventilator, the sensors, and the feeding tube, your hair kept getting in the way. My neighbor, Rafaela, sat on the foot of the bed, next to the blood cuff on my leg. I think you look cute like that. You'll start a new fashion craze once you're out of here. It's about time you woke up, Gutierrez said, standing behind Ian. Brown hair, light skin, a datapad in his arms. So all we have to do is crash a starship on your head to make you slow down, and even then it's only for a couple of weeks. Ian, his head must be harder than yours. Much harder, Ian said, and took my cup, refilled it, and handed it back to me. Your uncle said for you to call him when you're awake. They called him back to the mine. Dalila never stopped hugging me, and me her. I tried to speak, but only a cough came out. No speaking, at least until tomorrow, Doc scolded me. I know all of you want to stay here and chat, but he's just woken up and is very weak. Come back tomorrow. Let him have some time to sleep. Well, look who's up, said a voice coming in the doorway. Doc rolled his eyes. Everyone turned to see who bellowed. Carla and her daughter Valentina came in the door. They work on the observation deck at CNC. I told you he was awake, Mom, Val said. Rias, with you sleeping on the job, the whole colony is falling apart, Carla said, her hands on her hips. When you're out of here, we've got about 100 projects lined up for you. It's good to see you moving again. As I said before, I want everybody out. Come back tomorrow when he can talk, Doc said. Somehow Doc pushed everybody out, except me, Ian, and the cat. With a tug on the curtain, he pulled it shut, giving us the illusion of privacy. Placing my left hand behind my head, I stared at the white ceiling. I was up for maybe 5 minutes, and I wanted to sleep for another week. Ian sat on Doc's rolling stool beside my bunk and handed me my datapad. Doc says you'll probably feel better with this. Listen, I'm not good at this kind of thing, but I need to say thanks for the rescue. From what Emilio said, if you hadn't sealed the air in, I'd be dead. You didn't even know who I was, or captain, and you died for us. It was only the two of us, and first thing I noticed was the nice way he smiled. An easy smile on a rugged face. He hadn't shaved in days, maybe a week. Sandy hair, light skin, he wore medical coveralls, but the loose-fitting garment didn't hide the way his chest filled out the fabric, or the emptiness in his right sleeve. I nodded at his missing right arm. Taking a deep breath, Ian gave a wry, lopsided grin. That's the part that didn't make it out. I'm sorry, I mouthed. Don't be. None of this was your fault. You just sleep. We'll figure things out later, he said. After changing the washcloth, Ian went over to some pet dishes by his bunk and refilled them, then lay back down. The constant purring in my ear made me drowsy. Losing the fight against consciousness, I began to drift away, my mind filled with the calculations for building the Zhang He. Most of it would be fairly straightforward, but the curvature of the engines bothered me. It would have to be bent at a certain angle to line up. Terran design. Beautiful, but not practical. If I would have trouble making a replica, imagine the trouble they had with a full-size version. Do you know how much his treatments cost? Perlita's voice came from the other side of the curtain. Custom genetic nanite treatments shipped by an emergency medical transport. Do you think the colony can afford that? Perlita, keep your voice down. He's awake, Doc said. The sudden shock at hearing her voice was like being whipped. All thoughts of the curvature problem vanished, and I tried to sit up. I coughed again. A little blood came up. You lay back down, Ian said. Just ignore her, whoever she is. You should have sent him to Campbell Station, my aunt said, not lowering her voice. Let them pay for his treatments. He's useless anyway. All he does is fix a few things. You don't take critically injured people through jump space. They won't survive, Doc said, speaking fast and clipped. Rias does not have a broken arm, or a concussion, or internal bleeding. I could fix those. He has acute radiation poisoning that went straight into his bones, and the nanites can barely touch it. His entire marrow is shutting down. Think of it as severe anemia, and the nanite treatments are the only thing keeping him alive. He's dying because he went out to help, and he saved lives. I didn't see you out there. That's because I was doing the important stuff, Perlita sneered. Somebody has to run this colony when everybody... Blowing a breath out, Ian jumped out of his bunk, walked over to the curtain, and thrust it open. His face had darkened and his jaw clenched. He smiled, but it wasn't a happy one. Don't mind me. I thought Rias and I would have more fun watching the drama than just listening to you. You wouldn't have anything to munch on, would you? I'm starving, and Rias hasn't eaten anything for 2 weeks. Doc frowned, turning away from Perlita, and picked up his datapad. Point taken, Ian. Liquids only for Rias. It's too soon for solids. Perlita, why are you down here? Grabbing Doc's rolling stool, Ian rolled up next to me and propped the pillow up so I could watch. After 10 seconds, I started drifting away again. Sleep called. You take it easy, buddy. I'll watch over you, Ian said, and tucked the blanket against me. The soft purring of the cat did its hypnotic work. I asked her here. A crisp, no-nonsense kind of voice. He had a Campbell Station accent, and the way he spoke sounded formal. He must be corporate. I took as deep a breath as I could, which wasn't very deep, and steeled myself for the worst. Once again, I can't do anything right, and as much as I wanted to sleep, they wouldn't let me. Doc should have left me in the coma. Ian adjusted the nanite cuff. Now what? Mr. Gunther, a pleasure, my aunt said. All sweetness and light, of course. She must be smiling for the corporate guy. How can I help you? That must thrill you, Mrs. de Leon, that your nephew is, at last, responding to treatments, Mr. Gunther said. I opened my eyes. Mr. Gunther had dark gray hair and wore a dark gray corporate suit, and he had a simple ring on his left ring finger. As he looked around, I imagined that his dark gray eyes were recording everything into a datapad. If he had the right eye implants, they might. His crisp, alert, no-nonsense eyes found mine. I wasn't crisp or alert, just exhausted. I understand Mr. Travieso is awake. I wish to see his current condition, Mr. Gunther said. Rias is awake, but he is very weak and can't talk, Doc said, holding up his datapad so Mr. Gunther could see it. Mr. Gunther looked it over and swiped through a couple of screens. Some improvement, but the damage is extensive. Will these treatments work? I hope so. I've never seen a case quite like this. They're already preparing a stronger batch up in Campbell, but it's too soon to say if we'll need it, Doc said. Emilio walked in, pulling his dreadlocks back and tying them up. Rias, you look like a pile of crap. My wife put your name on our shrine, so we prayed for you twice a day, 3 times on Sunday. No one knew exactly what religion Emilio practiced. The word around the domes was it was all of them. I tried to say something, but only coughed. Rias, I told you, no talking, Doc scolded. Don't make me put the ventilator back on you to keep you quiet. Ian handed me the water and I sipped it. Why did all these people want to talk to me? The cat stayed by my ear, and Mr. Gunther, Emilio, and Perlita crowded around. Emilio gave a small nod to Ian. Ian, I need you back at your bunk and pretend you're not listening, okay? Yes, sir, I can pretend with the best of them, Ian said. After Ian left, I felt vulnerable. I was naked, hiding under a blanket with sensors and tubes everywhere, and they expected me to chat with the corporate authority, the administrator of Nuestra, and the second in command. We've gone over your suit cam, Emilio said, frowning. We need some clarification. I know you feel terrible, but this can't wait. I still don't understand what he could have seen that is so important. He's probably faking his injury so he could sleep, Perlita said. Mrs. de Leon, your comments are not helpful. Mr. Gunther's eyes hardened. Let's begin. You are Zacarias Marino Travieso, age 21, correct? I shook my head and looked at Emilio. Mr. Gunther raised his eyebrows. He goes by Rias. Zacarias was his dad, Emilio said. I remember that case, and I am sorry for your loss. Rias, then. As to your treatments, Rias, they will be covered by the Bentley Thwaite Worksite Injury Program. Please nod if you understand. I nodded and mouthed, thank you. First, after the Audi crashed, you left the Azul mines and took 37 minutes to arrive at the crash site, correct? Mr. Gunther asked. Again, I nodded. Emilio and his group didn't arrive for some time, almost an hour after you. Other groups arrived even later, but you probably were not aware of that. Please nod if these statements are correct as far as you understand them, Mr. Gunther said. I shrugged and nodded. Shrugging made some of the IV needles wiggle inside me. You are the only witness of the immediate effects of the crash. That's what makes your observations critical, Mr. Gunther said. Not sure of what to do, I nodded anyway. You approached from the rear and unknowingly exposed yourself to an unhealthy dose of radiation, Mr. Gunther said. I grimaced. As you explored, you found 2 survivors and 1 dead body, Mr. Gunther said. I reached up to the cat. And guacamole, Ian said from his bunk. Mr. Alvarado, please allow us a moment of privacy, but I will amend my statement to include 1 cat, Mr. Gunther said. Thank you, sir, Ian said. Emilio lifted my datapad and handed it to me. Mr. Gunther tapped his pad to mine, transferring a file. My datapad displayed the complete stats of Mr. Gunther's datapad, like date made, how much file space used, a list of all the files, and if it had an internal AI. It didn't. It was little more than file storage and a link to the main AI governing the colony. I did get contact information. The advantages of building a custom dual AI processor, but nobody but me knew that. Rias, you and your damn datapad, Doc said. Mr. Gunther looked at the readout of his datapad, on my datapad. Interesting, he said. Rias has a tendency to upgrade anything and everything within reach, Emilio said, and it's gotten him in trouble a few times. Mr. Gunther, remind me to tell you what happened when he upgraded a simple grav lifter we used to carry supplies to the tram. You were 16 then, right, Rias? I looked from one to another, waiting for someone to start yelling. They usually did. I know, you've gotten much better since then, Emilio said. A useful skill. That must make you very proud, Mrs. De Leon, Mr. Gunther said. My aunt didn't look proud, if I interpreted her scowl right. Let's return to the issue at hand, Mr. Gunther said. How do you think Mr. Robinson died? I opened a file and typed, crash. What else did you see? He asked. They were expecting something. They had seen something on the recordings that I must have seen. Something outside. The ship in the sky. I opened the file that Mr. Gunther had transferred, scrolled through different timestamps. Perlita scoffed. You can't trust his memory, not with the amount of radiation he absorbed. Didn't you say a minute ago that he was faking it? Ian said under his breath. Ian, Doc said. I found it and enlarged the image. Pixelated. I had to go from memory on this, but I knew ships. I typed short-range, non-cargo vessel, not jump capable. For a minute, my mind woke up. The ship was familiar, but didn't belong to the family of ships that work the Bentley-Thwaite arm. With a swipe, I took a look at the other 4 arms. It wasn't Terran. It was too practical for that. Arm by arm, I eliminated ships. One ship matched as close as I remembered. A short-range fighter from the Mason Garrett Wade arm, called the Dagger XF. I pointed it out to Emilio and Mr. Gunther. There's no way he could remember something like that, Perlita screeched. It's been 2 weeks, and the image on his suit wasn't clear. He's been in a coma. It took a lot of strength to make my vocal cords work, and it sounded like the lift in the Azul mines. I saw it. That sent me coughing. My chest heaved. One of the IVs came loose, and little flecks of blood appeared on the blanket. Ian was there with the cup. I ignored it and swiped to the next screen and tapped it hard. Everybody looked. The Hades Inferno long-range carrier carried a complement of 12 daggers. It was the standard military vessel in the Mason Garrett Wade corporate military. Perlita scoffed. You're delusional. If Rias says he saw that one, he saw it. The man knows his ships, Doc said. A carrier like that could priority jump through the 11 different jump gates from Terra to Nuestra, but it would still leave records all up and down the Bentley-Thwaite arm. That means that the MRD-1 jump gate had records, like all the others, and those records were on file. I think Mr. Gunther realized it about the same time I did. He sat a little straighter. A flicker of doubt crossed his eyes. His mouth opened a little, and he nodded once. God, was I tired. I wrote what we both knew anyway. Who let them in, and didn't tell anyone, and let the datapad sag. I took the water, my hand shaking, while everyone read it. My throat hurt, and a little bit of blood was on the straw when I released it. You can't figure that out from one little cotton ball of an image, Perlita said. Mr. Gunther, you know it's just the radiation affecting his brain. Thank you for your help, Mr. Travieso, Mr. Gunther said. I'll take care of things from here. I'm going to insist that everyone leave, Doc said. Mr. Travieso, one last question, Mr. Gunther said, rising. Ian took the water and disappeared with it. Whatever else Mr. Gunther said was completely lost to the purrs. Awake for 10 minutes, and I fell asleep while Mr. Gunther asked me something. My mind still didn't stop working. Somewhere in this system was a Hades Inferno carrier and a squadron of daggers. Nuestra was defenseless. Thank you, everybody, for joining me for this chapter. We'll see you next time. Peace.